All right. All right. So, okay. Um, all right. I am going to turn you guys' chat off because you have to listen to me. And if you're talking on chat, you're not going to listen to me. All right. So, can we stop chatting? Can we stop? You can gossip in a little bit. If you want to gossip with each other, you need to come to office hours and gossip with each other. Gossip with each other at other forums. Oh my goodness. Okay. Good grief. All right. So let me just kind of, we're at a pretty good, hi everybody. I didn't say hi to, I'm sorry if I didn't mention you by name, but I see you all here. Hi everybody. Couple things. I know probably your AP teachers, because I'm one of them, have been sending you like a bazillion, well, some of us have been probably sending you a billion emails about links and practice and stuff like that. So, and like a lot of students, you're probably like not really worried about it. You're going to really start thinking about it maybe Sunday night if you have a test on Monday, and then Monday for your test on Tuesday, which is this test, right? Your test for this class is on Tuesday. I think the biggest things to mention about it that I would want to reemphasize is, number one, get the link to practice uploading your answer, especially for the math one where you may be taking a picture and then somehow getting that picture as a submitted answer. I think that's going to be harder. It's going to be more time consuming than typing on your screen and just like copying over like you might do for some other tests. So definitely want to practice that. The other thing you can do ahead of time, and this is not actually, but they said the limit is 5 pictures. So essentially 5 pieces of paper is what you can think about having ready for each question, and have your AP number and your initials and like problem 1, page 1, problem 1, page 2, problem 1, page 3, problem 1, and I'd have that ready, already printed, already sitting in front of me. You could have extra scrap paper over to the side, whatever, cheat sheets, notes, whatever you want to have, but have your answer paper ready, because then you can just write your answers. You won't be like labeling, and that's just taking, you know, benefit of some other time. I'm thinking I should probably send a poll out. I was thinking I have office hours tomorrow, you know, at our normal 11:30 to 1 time, and I was thinking I was going to offer some office hours Monday. I only have a couple restrictions because I have a couple meetings on Monday where I can do that. So I don't know if you guys would rather have something in the evening Monday or during the day or whatever, but let me think about that and let me know if you want to talk about anything Monday. I mean, you can just kind of also, you can just email me and ask if we can do some office hours on Monday and let me know what time, and I'm happy to be there. Remember, you just use this link. So I know Monday, big support, and then Tuesday, your test is at 2, so you should be logging in at like 1:15 to be safe, and you should be looking for the email that has your login information. You should be getting that Sunday for your calculus test on Tuesday. And I'm thinking, I know a big senior one is Gov on Monday. I don't know what else is on Monday, but if you have a Monday test, you should be getting that email Saturday. Okay. I want to go over some pieces of the questions from the mock exam that Mr. Walters and I shared with you. There are 2 other really good mock exams out there to practice that are available via video. They've done a video on a video session, taking one of it and then reviewing it the next day, and then a video session taking it, and then they're going to review it today. I've sent you or posted on Blackboard an announcement links to all those videos. Any questions about test information, test stuff, before we just sort of generic AP test stuff, before we go over some specific pieces of the mock exam I shared with you? Can throw it in chat or put your hand up and I'll give you a mic. All right, so the timing for each question, it's a 30-minute clock for the first question, and that includes a 5-minute submit. So they're assuming you're going to write for 25 minutes and then you're going to submit for 5. And then the second question, you're going to write for 15 and you have 5 to submit. Now, you can tweak that, but if time expires and you haven't submitted, then you're screwed. You don't get any credit. They go to question 2. You can't go back to question 1. So you have to get it submitted before the clock expires. And there's a clock. The simulator shows you that. It runs like a little 10-minute clock for you at the bottom. So you can like do something for 5 minutes and then see, can you get it submitted in, if you had 5 pages, once you start taking the pictures or whatever, can you get it submitted in 5 minutes? Other questions? If you watch the videos for the practice exams, do I think you'll be okay? The simulator is from College Board. They're the videos. College Board have linked those videos on YouTube. Do I think you'll be able to finish the questions? No, I don't. The AP people have said that straight out, that you probably will not be able to finish all the parts of all the questions. You can and get it submitted. Okay, and that's the big thing. Do as much as you can, but leave yourself enough time to submit. And you have to have it, you can only like submit once for the question, because once you submit, then that question is over. So you can't like do a piece, submit it, do a piece, submit it. You can do a piece, take a picture and kind of get it ready, but then once it's submit time, you submit everything. So yeah, you can run the videos for yourself and they have a climber on there for you. You're not going to get to practice submitting, but you at least get to practice seeing what you can answer in the time. All right. I'm going to ask you if you're thinking about other questions, just to kind of hold them for now, or you can shoot them to me in email. I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, Mr. Walters and I kind of looked at this particular mock exam that an AP teacher wrote, and we thought it would be good. Oops, where am I? There were certain parts of it that we wanted to make sure that we did. Okay, so this is from the mock exam I have posted for you guys on Blackboard. I will post the key for it as well, so you can look at how you did. Oops, I know I'm not showing it yet. There we go. Okay. Okay, I would say you probably are going to see a problem with a table, a problem with a graph, because I've seen that on just about every single mock. At least one part of it had a table or a table graph combo. So here's a table. The mock that we gave you had 6 different questions asked about this particular table. It's good to read through the questions too, to see, things you know how to do and know how to do, because they're not necessarily in order of difficulty, and there's definitely things that you're going to know how to do that you can do, and you want to make sure you get to those parts. So read through it, do the parts you know how to do, write up as much as you can on the stuff you're not 100% sure about. Make sure you get it submitted in time. Okay, so this question, this was the mean value. This was a question about mean value theorem. It was, hey, f prime meets the conditions for the mean value theorem. Let me shoot this down a little bit so I can write. Okay. So f prime meets the conditions of the mean value theorem. You might want to, if you can pull this document up also, you have it. And so that means, what are the conditions, or what does the mean value theorem, what does it say? The mean value theorem says that the average rate of change for a function, if you calculate the average rate of change for a function on an interval, that the derivative of the function will have that same value, will equal that average rate of change, that the average rate of change will equal the instantaneous rate of change for some c in the interval AB. Now, what makes this question a little trickier, if you can get this part, we're actually talking about applying the mean value theorem to f prime, right? So that means mean value theorem to f prime. So f prime of b minus f prime of a over b minus a would equal f double prime at some c. So this is kind of acting like your main function, because that's what's in the average rate of change. So the average rate of change of some function has the same value as the derivative of whatever that function is. So in this problem, we were looking at mean value theorem applying to f prime. So it's the average rate of change for f prime equaling f double prime. They tell us the magic C number is C equals 1. Okay. So the reason they're asking you for f double prime of C, f double prime of C, or f double prime at 1, on the interval 0, 3, means we're going to be looking at it equaling f prime of 3 minus f prime of 0 over 3 minus 0. Okay. And when we pull these numbers from the table, this is going to be 4 minus negative 1 over 3, which is 5/3. Okay. Just going to check over my email for a second, make sure it's not somebody trying to get into class. So give me one moment. Oh. Okay. Oh, Amelia has questions. Okay. All right. Yeah, Amelia, I'll get your questions. Okay. So, mean value theorem. This is not a tough question if you know what the mean value theorem says. I posted a couple examples of good cheat sheets, good note sheets that have basic information summarized. One is actually one for BC, which would be good for AB. It's just got extra stuff on it. And you'll look, because you'll see the extra stuff. You'll be like, oh, we didn't do that. Yeah, just ignore that. So having something like this in front of you during testing, I'm guessing this would probably be a fair question to say, okay, can you use the mean value theorem? Okay. So mean value theorem or intermediate value theorem, good possible questions for a table. Second question. This is not something we usually would do with a table, but once again, this is a way to give you an integral question without you being able to use like Wolfram Alpha or something to solve the problem. We're being asked to evaluate the integral from 2 to 3 of f double prime of 2x minus 1. Now, f double prime of x, if I'm taking the antiderivative of f double prime of x, that would be f prime of x. Once again, that's kind of helpful or makes sense because the way this problem was written, we have a table about f prime. The thing that's a little extra tricky about this, though, is it's a U-sub problem. So this is a really good way for them to test us on, can we do a U-sub? You kind of have to do a U-sub on this. You can't, like I said, you can't really Wolfram Alpha or some other, oops, that's a DU over there, some other kind of like software program that will calculate integrals and stuff for you. There isn't a way to find this value with a table, okay? And trying to model this function with an equation is not going to be the process. You can't say, oh, I'm going to use this and I'll get an equation for f prime. That is never the idea. That is never what you're supposed to be doing. So if I let you 2x minus 1, that means this is 1/2 f double prime of u du from 3 to 5. I have to change my limits of integration to match my U substitution. Definitely a problem like this, there's going to be points associated for the indicator of the U substitution, the changing of the limits of integration. So this is going to be 1/2 times f prime of 5 minus f prime of 3. And then that goes back to the table. Sorry, I'm looking at my work here so I can get through this pretty quickly, or try to do as many things as I can. That's going to come out to be 3/2. Okay. So if you have an integral to do, and it doesn't say estimate with a Riemann sum, which would be one kind of problem, okay? If it says evaluate, that must mean that you can do something with fundamental theorem to get an exact value. This is definitely not the presentation that we're used to seeing. We're used to seeing this as an equation and actually writing the antiderivative. I'm thinking that's not the kind of stuff they're going to ask us, because that's very easy to do with a calculator. That's very easy to do. That doesn't really prove that you know calculus if you can Google essentially the antiderivative of a function and get that. So I'm guessing it's going to be table work and graph work more than equation work. Anything you want to ask me about on those two parts of question 1? We're going to do one more part of question 1 here in a second. If you're thinking like, where would you have to say what MVT is for a point? Probably not, because I'm guessing, I don't know. I'll have to look at the scoring guide for this that the dude wrote. And I don't have it in front of me. I have it electronically, but I'm gonna guess you probably aren't gonna get a point for just writing that down, because that's something you can have. Like, having notes means you gotta do more actual work to get points. So just knowing that MVT means this would probably not get you very much. I don't know. But they're probably going to look for some evidence that you set up an average rate of change equals the instantaneous rate change. If you set that, and the way you set up your work, that's how they're going to know that you knew what it meant. Okay, let's look at the next one I picked out, or Mr. Walters and I picked out together. All right, let's go back to trying to go backwards. Okay, here we are. I think we're back. All right, now and pick out part D to go over together. That's another L'Hopital limit. That one was a little tricky, but I'm gonna bet hard money you're gonna get a L'Hopital problem, a L'Hopital limit. So, and you've seen those on a couple different practice exams, so watch for those. I was trying to make sure we did stuff that we hadn't done as much of together. All right, so this is part F of the FRQ, gives us a differential equation and wants us to use separation of variables with an initial condition. I've seen a lot of separation of variable problems, so I'm guessing you're probably going to get that as something you can choose. You got to kind of think about it as, okay, I can choose to try to do certain things to prove how much calculus I know. And the more different things I can do, correctly, the more points I'm going to get. And your score is actually just basically supposed to be an indicator of how much calculus do you know. A 5 is you have a very good understanding of multiple calculus skills, and a 1 and a 2 are some things about calculus, but not enough to say that you've got any kind of mastery. So goal 1 is to show enough that you've got a 3 level of mastery, and then can you get beyond that? So Separation of variables problems, great for getting points, great for accumulating, because there's a lot of skills that you need to do a separation of variables problem. So I recommend trying these. You can get a lot of stuff for them for not doing very much or not doing as much, but you can separate, meaning getting y's on one side and x's on the other, and separate, then integrate. Okay. And I picked this problem to do for two reasons. First one, once again, and I think this is a good illustration of where the same skill but at different levels might be on the test, more than once. So here's that same concept, the antiderivative of f double prime. Okay. If you messed it up on that other question we did, because maybe you didn't remember, or maybe you didn't get the u sub part of it, but you can get that is that, then you've got some knowledge. Okay. This is the one. I know you want to tell me natural log, but you have to think about a u sub. It is a natural log, but you're going to need a 1/2. And so this one's going to be negative 1/2 natural log 3 minus 2y equals f prime of x plus c. Okay. And then the rest of the question, using the condition, get an expression where y is by itself, because y equals h of x. So we'll get y by itself, and then that means we'll have y equals h of x, expression for h of x, and then we'll figure out h of 2. No, something else I want to emphasize on this problem. You can have messy looking solutions. Your solutions still do not have to be pretty. Our initial condition is 0, 1. So if I take that to help me figure out my c, that's going to be a 1 in there, because if I put a 1 in here, and then this is f prime of 0, and from the table, that f prime of 0 was, I'm looking at my work, okay, was -1. And this guy is 0. I mean, you're going to have a calculator, so there's no reason for you not to know that. So your c is going to be 1. Okay. Now we take that, oops, I'll throw another page in here. We take that, we go back to the original equation. I'm going to drop my absolute value, because if the point is 0, 1, I know that if I put a 1 in here, the absolute value of 1 is 1, so I'm okay. I can get a positive 1 without having the absolute value there. This was f prime of x plus 1. I got to get that y by itself. Okay. So maybe I multiply by -2. Prime of x plus 1. I exponentiate. So 3 minus 2y equals e to the -2 f prime. Oh, it's not f prime of x plus 1. It's f prime of x closed plus 1. Fix that up there a little bit. X plus 1. I don't care how ugly that is. I'm just trying to get y by itself. So if I take this e expression and I've subtracted 3 from it, and I've divided the whole thing by -2, that's a perfectly good solution for h of x. It's not the prettiest thing, but we do not care. We do not care how pretty this is, because the job is just, it's not up there. The job is just get a particular solution for y equals h of x, get an expression for h of x, and then log into. Okay, so don't worry about making your answers beautiful, because they could still be messy looking. I'm guessing you probably still can leave things. I don't know that there's some kind of calculator. I have to look at the rules. But like on this problem, you're going to get an answer with E in it. Wait, let me think about this for a second, because I've written this a little differently on my paper. That's it. Yeah, so it's 1 there. Minus 3 or negative 2. Oops. Okay, so this was h prime of 2, or h of 2. So h of 2 equals e to the negative 4 minus 3 over negative 2. You do not have to go decimal on that. I'm fairly sure you don't. The thing is, though, I guess this would be fine, because this is essentially equal to this. But stop, like here, for figuring out h of 2, you can't just write f prime of 2 right there. You're going to have to actually fill it out till it's all values. Okay. Separation of variable problems take time, but there's often, multiple points in there. So if you could at least separate, sometimes the separation is a point. Sometimes both antiderivatives are worth a point. I don't know what else to say about that one. I know that that's probably quick for you. I've done that really quickly. So, big thing about, or one of the good things about this is we are videoing, and I'm recording it. So later on, I'll post this. You'll be able to go back and look at it and sort of look at it a little bit more critically and slow it down and follow along with your document. I don't know if you hear my son upstairs playing with his babies. He's been really loud. Okay, I got one more I wanted to do with you, one more piece of this problem, and that is this piece. Now, like I said, I think it's highly likely that you're going to be looking at, sorry guys, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm messing up. Hang on, messing up. I am not sharing anything. I see that. Okay, hang on. Like moved my window, and so I'm all messed up. But I'm unmessing myself up now. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I accidentally left. Yeah. No, I have not abandoned you. Don't write stuff. I can see you. Don't write anything. I'm back. I did not mean to abandon you. I'm just dumb. Okay, hang on. I see you. I see you doing stuff. Okay. All right. Wait a minute. I'm trying to share. Go back one more time. It's hard, man. It's hard for us old folks. Okay. So, are you going to have a problem with a graph? Probably. Question I've seen more than once. Absolute min and max. Absolute min and max of a function given a graph. Now, this is a little tougher. Once again, though, this is a little bit of a a trick, not a trick, but G is the antiderivative of F. Okay, so G is the antiderivative of F. That means that G prime is equal to F. And so if we are doing a minimum, we'll need critical values as candidates where G prime equals 0, and we'll need to work with endpoints. So we will need to create a table, and I'm going to look at my, I don't have my graph in front of me. Let me look up here. Okay, so G prime, which equals F, is equal to 0 at 3 places, one of which happens to be an endpoint. So x equals -4, x equals 1, and x equals 5. So as we go down here for candidates, where the minimum would be and to figure out what the minimum would be, my x values are going to have to be -4, 1, 5, and 7. Okay. Now, second part. Whenever we've done this candidate stuff, we were always plugging this in to g of x algebraically. It was a plug and chug question. Plug and chug questions don't tell us much about calculus understanding when you have open notes, open sources to help you. So that's how they're going to ask you this. They're going to have you figure these things out, but you've got to use the fact that G is the antiderivative of F. So if I want, well, there's the one I'm given, G of 1, that's going to be 4. But if I want G of anything else, like G of -4, I'm going to have to use a G value I know, and then I'm going to integrate the antiderivative. I'm going to integrate the rate of change of G. I'm going to get G values by doing areas related to the F curve. Okay. The -4 one is probably the hardest one to do. It's probably easier if I start with thinking about G of 5, because G of 5 is going to be G of 1 plus that half circle, which is under the x-axis as you go from 1 to 5, so that's going to be negative. So I think it's probably a little easier to understand when I want G of 5, that when I do G of 1 and I add on the area from 1 to 5 of the f function, that I'm going to get 4 plus negative. And then if I go up here, this is radius of 2. That tells us it's a semicircle. So it's a circle with a radius of 2. It's a half of a radius of 2. So this is 1/2 times 2 squared times pi. So that's going to be that value. Okay. And then when I do G of -4, this one's going to be a little tougher. I'm going to have to start at 1 and go backwards. So as I'm going backwards, I'm going to get this. That's going to calculate as positive. The G of 7, I can take what I got for G of 5, and I can add on that part. Okay. When you're done with this, I will tell you that that ultimately is going to be your answer. You can't really state that, though, until you have those pieces of information there. You're not going to get credit for that. So we've got an absolute minimum at 5 of 4 minus 2 pi. Okay. Okay, so at this point, what are you going to do to get ready? You're going to practice, you're going to do practice tests. I think that's going to be the best thing to help you get ready. Looking at cheat sheets and printing them out and having them. I apologize if I wasn't sharing any of that. Yeah, you guys were probably all telling me that. Oh. Okay. Yes, this worksheet is posted. It's on Blackboard. It's listed as, it's under mock exam. So it's not under like a week information. It's under mock exam. All right, so I'm going to turn off my sharing for that so you can get back to my picture. There's me. Okay, so, yeah, you got it. You know, me doing millions of problems in front of you obviously is not going to help you. It's only going to be helpful if you're doing problems yourselves, finding and honestly finding where you're making your mistakes. To take one of the tests under the time constraints, seeing what you can do, and then watching the video where you grade it and seeing, okay, I did that part okay, whoa, I totally screwed that up. That's good information. That's exactly the kind of information you would be getting from me if we had been able to do a practice exam together. It's, what are you good at? What are you crappy at? What did you think you were good at that you turned out you're not? Because if you're totally crappy and you totally don't understand something, it's going to be really hard to figure that all out between now and Tuesday. When I'm really worried about the things you think you understand, but then when you try to test and you check your work, you're like, oh, I don't understand that. And just try to get as many things strong as possible. Having your resources organized. But you can't have tons of things where you're going to look stuff up. You've got to have some knowledge. Having your testing area in a way that you can focus and just, you know, you do the best you can. And that's the bottom line. And that is exactly what I would say to you no matter what. You're going to do the best you can do. And you know what? If you take this test and you get a 2 on it, that's okay. All right? Maybe you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get a 1. But maybe you're going to get a 2. And if you get a 2 and you thought you were going to get a 1, then that's awesome, right? You're really not competing with anybody. You've worked for it. It's worth it to try your best on the test and kind of see what kind of feedback you get. You might surprise yourself as to what you're able to do and what you think your knowledge is as compared to or as assessed by another source. Oh, something just popped up in chat. No, you are not going to, well, you know, yeah, you're not. You're not going to be negative. Let's be positive about it. Try to be positive. Try to feel good about it. But I know it is stressful. It is stressful. Okay. So do the best you can. I am not that worried about the content. I'm really not. I think this test content-wise is going to be much more accessible. I think the amount of practice materials that they're putting out there is actually really, really, really going to be helpful. I'm sort of expecting more good scores this year, but I will tell you, I'm nervous about just the process. The process of like doing your answer and getting it uploaded. That's the part that would make me more nervous, not the work, that just manipulating the process. But if something does happen in the middle of your test, if your like computer goes out or your internet goes out or something, you can apply to a retest in June, and they will, you have to have a legitimate reason, like there has to be something that's legitimately happened to you, but make sure you look at that information. So because, you know, stuff happens, and so, you know, if we have a lightning storm and you lose power and so you can't take your test, you will be eligible to take a retest or a makeup test. Okay. Anybody have any feedback off the top of their head about wanting office hours on Monday that you want to share? I don't know. You can think about it. Think about it and let me know what you think. I'm kind of open. I'm sort of gonna devote my world to you guys on Monday to do whatever you need me to do. I can't. There are cheat sheets on Blackboard. Yes, I put 2 of them up there that I found from other calculus teachers. I can't be there right before the test because right before the test I've got other classes. So I've got to, we're not going to do anything third period that day. I'm just going to probably pep talk my third period if you want to show up in third period, but you have a third period. But if you want to show up in third period on Tuesday, we're not going to do any magic calculus. But yeah, and really Tuesday it's Tuesday. We just got to relax and do what we need to do. So let me know if there's something I can do. If you need something for me to support your work, make sure you're submitted your work. Questions, issues, concerns. Yes, Amulia. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, so Sathya answered your question. So, yeah, and especially juniors. Juniors, you guys are taking BC next year. As much as you want to peace out after this AP test, you really can't. Mr. Walters and Mr. Bumgarner are going to have expectations for you to have some additional knowledge. We're going to do some new information. We have to. We can't leave you rolling into BC without. It just makes BC a lot harder. It's that you can. It just makes BC a lot harder. So, yeah. Just saying. Okay, that's all I got for today. I don't know. I got nothing else. I got love, high fives, fist bumps, elbows. I would high five you on test day. I'm not going to be able to do that, but you're welcome, Anthony. There you go. Yeah. Salem, good one. Where's my fist pump? I'm going to find mine. But that's all I got. You can roll if you want to hang and ask me questions. That's fine. I'm going to say, oops. Love you. You're welcome. Love you guys. All right. Hang in there. Have a good afternoon. Come see me in office hours tomorrow or email me. Yep. Text each other pep talks. Good luck on all your AP exams, not just mine. Good luck on all of them. Okay. You are welcome. We got this. Bulldogs. Bulldogs for life. Bye, everybody. Bye.